हाय।
हाय।
कैसे हो?
मैं अच्छी हूँ, तुम कैसे हो?
ठीक हूँ। भेजा है रिक्वेस्ट तुमको। आई गेस थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है ज्वाइन करने में।
नेटवर्क ठीक है?
हाँ, इधर तो ठीक है।
ओके ओके। एक मिनट।
नमस्ते मैम।
Hi, namaste.
नमस्ते मैम।
ये
Am I au-
यस।
यस मैम।
am I audible? Okay, okay.
यस
Sir
मैम।
is left to join. No? Yeah,
Yes.
he will join now.
I have sent a request.
Yeah, he will.
I'm good मैम।
How are
How are
you?
you मैम?
यस, आई एम आल्सो
Both of
गुड।
you fine? No. Glad to be with you today. Platform for a
Yes
noble
मैम।
cause.
नमस्ते सर।
नमस्ते।
सो सभी का स्वागत है इस एपिसोड 3 में। And me, as usual, Sanita Singh from Bhopal and Vindhya from Uttarakhand. We both welcome Dr. Ramya ma'am and Dr. Rajkumar sir for as our guest speaker in episode 3. So Dr. Rajkumar sir is an associate professor and an head HOD of Department of Rog Nidan and Vikriti Vigyan, Government of Puducherry, Mahi. As I have given a detailed introduction of sir in episode 1, I'll give the detailed introduction of Dr. Ramakrishnan ma'am in this episode. Dr. Ramakrishnan ma'am is an associate professor and associate department of Dravya Guna, Government of Puducherry, Mahi. Ma'am has done a PhD from Rajasthan Ayurveda University, Jodhpur, in subject dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Ma'am has 21 years of clinical experience and 16 years of teaching experience. She is an author of 5 books till now. Evidence-based Ayurveda and rational prescribing in 2012, Ayurveda Gynecology Device and Update first edition in 2017, Mission of Science in Medicine in 2020, Ayurveda Gynecology and Maternity Care Device and Update in 2022, and Dravya algorithm for clinical decision in 2022. Ma'am was facilitated and also appreciated by Honorable Minister at Ayush, Sri Shripad Y Nayak in National Seminar on Inflammatory Disease of SBB Wisdom Series at Goa in Jan 2016. Ma'am is also editorial member of the international peer-reviewed online journal, International Journal of Ayurveda, Pharmacy and Research. She has appeared as a guest speaker on evidence-based Ayurveda in Doordarshan and awareness talk in other leading television channels also. Ma'ams and sir together, they also give the keynote and speaker and lecturer in various national seminars. So with all this, I will say short introduction, I will welcome both of them in this episode 3. So sir, before starting this session, we both would like to just brief in 2-3 minutes. We would like to brief that 2 episodes which we have learned about first year curriculum and what the changes is needed. So I'll request Bindya to start that. Yes,
Yeah.
Bindya.
We see in episode 1 and 2 about the significance of Padarth Vigyan, Ashtang Hriday and Sanskrit. So I won't be getting into the details of it. But to summarize, as sir has told, as these three subjects are the basic subjects, so these three should be taken under fundamental principles as paper 1, 2, and paper 3. To brief it, Padarth Vigyan is not philosophy. It is the tool with which we use. Sorry, it is the tool which we use to understand the laws of nature of Ayush. So only this much is required. For Sanskrit, it should be taught by an Ayurvedic physician who has good command over it and who has comprehended the Shastra Arthas and is practicing Shastra Arth Karma. For Ashtanga Hridaya, it is the basic text, so it should be paper 3. Over to you, Sangeeta.
Yeah. So also regarding history, anatomy and physiology, as sir told that history should be learned but shouldn't be taken as an exam, which is in a very unprofessional approach. Regarding anatomy and physiology, sir has just briefed in episode 2 that instead of taking practicals of modern things, physiology practicals on modern things, both subject has to be focused on Ayurvedic practical aspects. लाइक फिजियोलॉजी के प्रैक्टिकल्स जो है कि मोर ओवर आयुर्वेदिक थिंग्स के ऊपर, जैसे प्रकृति, विकृति, सार, सहनम, इन सारी चीजों पे प्रैक्टिकली पेशेंट्स के ऊपर समझाने की जरूरत है. Along with anatomy, along with dissection, we used to see about मर्माघात और रोग मार्ग, इन सारी चीजों को कंसिडर करने की पेशेंट्स में एलाबोरेटली प्रैक्टिकली शो करने की जरूरत है. और बोथ सब्जेक्ट स्पेशली फिजियोलॉजी जो है कि प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ आयुर्वेदा, आयुर्वेद का जो प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट्स है उस वे में टीचिंग की जरूरत है. ऑल्सो रिगार्डिंग अष्टांग हृदय एंड अष्टांग संग्रह, जो कि लोगों का क्वेश्चन था कि व्हाई लाइक अष्टांग संग्रह एंड व्हाई अष्टांग हृदय. नाउ अष्टांग हृदय हैज बीन टॉट. So for Ashtang Sangrah, it has been told that सर्वतंत्राणि अति प्रायः सहित्य अष्टांग संग्रह, मतलब कि अष्टांग संग्रह के पीरियड तक जो भी जो है कि तंत्राज और समिताज अवेलेबल थे, आचार्य वाग्भट ने उन्हें कंपाइल्ड करके जितने भी प्रॉब्लम्स थे उनको रेक्टिफाई करके अष्टांग संग्रह को जो है कि डिटेल्ड में एक्सप्लेन किया था, सारी चीजों को एक्सप्लेन किया था. और अष्टांग हृदय ही उसका तेभ्यो अति विप्रकीर्णोभ्य प्रायः सारतरोच्चयः क्रियते अष्टांग हृदय न अति संक्षेप विस्तरम. मतलब कि उसका भी अष्टांग संग्रह का भी एसेंस लेके, उसका सार लेके जो है कि अष्टांग हृदय को बनाया गया था, जिसमें कि लाइक ब्रीफ किया गया था श्लोकास फॉर्म में, शॉर्टेस्ट फॉर्म में, डिटेल. और अगर हमें डिटेल और ब्रीफ में लर्न करना है, जानना है, तो हमें अष्टांग संग्रह पढ़ना है. लाइक फॉर अ स्टार्टर्स, फॉर अ बिगिनर, अष्टांग हृदय इज द बेस्ट टेक्स्ट बुक. So till now this has been told in episode 1 and episode 2. So sir, so is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, you have briefed everything very well.
Yeah.
So, basics should be paper 1, 2 and 3 with Sanskrit, laws of nature. You can add research methodology also from the first year itself, how it is constituted,
Yeah.
like Siddhantas, how they are applied with Nirdeshas, Upadeshas and all, how we are examining the patient with Pramanas, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Aptopadesha. So all these research methodology basics also can be taught in the first year itself, and anatomy and physiology both should be practically, we will be understanding all these practical aspects of Ayurvedic science, like Srotas, Marma, and other things in anatomy as well as in patients itself or in subjects. And physiology also, not lab practicals, what we need to understand in the patient with Dashavitha Pariksha or Navavitha Pariksha, with which we are identifying the patient status. So all those have to be given importance. And finally, after first year, the student should be in that track, in the professional track, to gain Ayurvedic knowledge. So that is what I wanted to brief.
Yeah, thank you so much sir. So एपिसोड 2 यहाँ पे एंड हुआ था कि हमने बात की थी कि जो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शंस मेंशन है संहिताज में, सर ने कॉन्ट्राडिक्शंस के बारे में तो बता दिया गया था, लेकिन उसी के ऊपर जो क्वेश्चंस थे कि मतलब कि इंडिविजुअल युक्ति इज डिटरमिनेंट इन क्लिनिकल डिसीजन मेकिंग, ट्रू और फॉल्स। यहाँ इस क्वेश्चन पे जो है कि एपिसोड 2 एंड हुआ था। तो जैसे कि मैंने कल सारे सोशल हैंडल्स पे पूछा था कि युक्ति क्या होती है, आंसर मैंने ये शेयर भी कर दिया है आपसे, सो आई विल नॉट अगेन शेयर नाउ क्योंकि टाइम इशू के कारण। सो ऑल्सो इन माई व्यूज, जो मैंने टीचरों के मुंह से युक्ति वर्ड सुना है, किस वे में सुना है, आई वुड लाइक टू डिक्टेट दैट कि युक्ति मतलब कि आप अपना दिमाग कैसे भी लगा सकते हो, लाइक अ जुगाड़, आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो युक्ति के लिए। सो सो जिस जो उनका पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है, दैट इज देयर युक्ति। So it has been taught like that. For me, it has been taught like that. I don't know about others. For me, it has been taught like that. So, so starting from this question only, that contradictions are there in Samhita. So individual yukti is determinant in clinical decision making. True or false, sir?
Let Dr. Remya start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, Yukti means, according to Ashtanga Sangraha, in Bheshaja Avajaraniya also chapter, he made it very clear what is Yukti. Yukti is not individual perception, what I think about this patient, anybody can think anything. No, it is like imagination. So science is not imagination. Imagination is welcome in art. But in science, we cannot imagine and do something. There are certain rigid standards to understand, to apply, and to evaluate everything. So science as such cannot be completely imagination. So what Acharya told is doshadi abhekshaya bheshajasya samijina kalpana. That is yukti. Doshadi abhekshaya. That depending on the state and stage, cause, state and stage of visheshana of doshas, how you are choosing Bheshaja. That is what is the process of deciding Bheshaja by considering or appraising the state and stage, cause mechanisms, state and stage of dosha, Agandu dosha or Sthani dosha, whatever it is. That appraisal process, that is called as Yukti Jnana, and what is achieved in the end, that is what is called Yukti Jnana. Buddhi Pashyadi Ya Bhavan Bahu Karana Yogajan. Is it not? Bahu Karana Yogajan Yukti. Trikala Sadhya Trivarga Sadhya. So it is like multiple factors contributing to one effect. There is one effect which we see in the patient. Patient may be presenting with one effect, like suppose he is having diabetes or diabetes with hypertension. There are multiple factors which are contributing to that effect. So we have to analyze all the factors. In Ayurveda, it is not like symptomatic relief or suppression or blocking pathway, neuronal pathway, or something like that. Symptom or pathway suppression, blocking enzyme, neurotransmitter, all this is not advisable in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, the target is reversal of all the cause mechanisms, and finally to achieve health by reversal of all the existing diseases in the subject. So Yukti as such is the process of systematic analysis, systematic and scientific analysis of appraisal of cause mechanisms of dosha drushti and reaching a conclusive diagnosis. Conclusive diagnosis can be guided or led by multiple factors, complex factors, that is leading to one final effect. So as the rational standards which are applied to understand the cause mechanisms are there in the science of Ayurveda, it is not like why this particular patient developed this particular samprapti. It is always standardized by certain rational parameters in Ayurveda, by Roga Pariksha, Rogi Pariksha, and Bheshaja Pariksha. Everything is standardized. Diagnosis is done by Roga Pariksha and Rogi Pariksha standards. And treatment is decided by Bheshaja Pariksha standards. So everything is standardized. So when we are applying those parameters which are specific to understand the cause mechanisms, to explore the cause mechanisms in the particular patient. Like one patient might have developed hypertension, essential primary hypertension by dehydration. Other patient might have got it by inflammation. Another patient by avarana, samadosha. Multiple factors can be there. So what has led to that particular patient to this condition? That is to be explored and that is to be discovered. It is like discovering the disease in the patient. It is not like modern medicine. Modern medicine, all these symptoms, when you type in the computer, you will get this could be probable diagnosis, but it is not possible with natural intelligence. So Shastra Sahita Tarka is what is called Yukti. Shastra Sahita Tarka. Tarka means reasoning. Reasoning led by the inbuilt scientific standards of Shastra. Ayurveda Shastra, that is called Yukti. So every person will make a common, uniform, rational diagnosis and treatment once Yukti Jnana is applied correctly. Again, Yukti Jnana is led by Pratyaksha Anumana, first of all, Aptopadesha, Shastra Arthas. Shastra Arthas, Pratyaksha and Anumana, leading to Yukti Jnana and final conclusive diagnosis and treatment. So it is always standardized scientific knowledge.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, your mic is mute. Sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Yukti Yojana Peshajasya Deha Doshadhyapekshaya. So it is application. It is not blind application or it is not experience. It is specifically mentioned as Peshajasya Yukti or Peshajasya Yojana. Deha Doshadhyapekshaya. So you have to assess Deha, you have to assess Dosha, you have to assess Vyati, and then you have to assess Peshaja and whether it is to be applied or not. That has to be decided. And the objective of Yukti is to be known. What is the objective of Yukti? Siddhar Yukto Pradishtita. So objective of Yukti is to produce Siddhi. Intended objective is to be accomplished. So for that, so if you want to cure a disease, curing a disease or reversing a pathology is the objective of medicine application in Ayurveda. So for curing a disease, you need to know about the disease status properly. Roga avastha. Nidana Panjaga, you have to assess the roga. So Panja Samprapti, you have to assess the Nidana Samprapti. And you have to assess the avastha also. Then regarding dosha, what is the pramana of dosha? Dosha pramana can be identified by apachara visheshena. You have to assess how much dosha has vitiated, how much, so it has to be quantified. We have to assess vyati with all the pancha sampraptis. We have cause mechanisms. We have to assess dosha with its pramana. We have to assess the causes, external causes, internal causes, and also then we have to decide the treatment principle. Treatment principle is to be decided based on the roga avastha, but medicine application is dependent on rogi avastha. Rogi avastha we have to find out. Rogi avastha we can find out by prakriti, sara, samhanna, sattva, pramana, satmya, ahara shakti, vyayama shakti, vayas. So we have to assess the state and stage of the patient. So not only based on the disease, when somebody sends one message that he has this much lab value, this is the disease, what is your treatment? We cannot do like that. We have to assess with Nidana Panchaga, Pancha Samprapti, we have to assess the avastha, we have to assess the strength of the disease, we have to assess the strength of dosha, we have to assess the patient with 9 factors, and then decide which treatment principle is to be applied how. Then we have to decide the Peshaja. Peshaja is also, it's very specific. When Peshaja Pariksha is mentioned, Dravya Pariksha is mentioned, Idam Evam Prakriti, Evam Gunam, Evam Prabhavam, etc. Anayacha Matraya Yuktam. In this dose, it has to be administered. Aspin Vyatau. In this disease, in this status, with this Pancha Samprapti, we have to identify the Vyati. Evam Vithasya Purushasya. We have to identify the status of the Rogi. Edavandam dosham apakarshat yupashamya diva. This much dosha will be subsided or removed. So for that objective, that Peshaja will be used. Peshaja is not medicine alone. it has to be administered along with food and regimen, because everything makes a hostile environment to the disease, and in that unique environment of the patient, and how that is to be accomplished, reversal of the disease and accomplishment of health, how that could be accomplished is meant with yukti. It is not, I have seen hundreds of patients of this disease and I have treated with this medicine and it is my yukti. You cannot diagnose a disease with different yuktis. You cannot diagnose the status of the patient. According to me, this patient is of our pramana. You cannot tell like that. Patient is having only one status. So when you are assessing scientifically, the patient will be having one status only. Disease will be having one status only. Diagnosis of the disease will be one. Dosha pramana will be the same uniformly. And the clinical decision making will be also identical. Medicine used, maybe Deepana medicine, if you are intending to do Deepana to reverse that disease, Deepana medicine can be different, but treatment principle and application, everything should be scientifically correct. Then only you will be accomplishing Siddhi. So Yukti is for Siddhi. So Yukti is logical reasoning to accomplish cure or reversal of pathology.
Thank you so much, sir, for this much detailed description on Yukti. So I guess this topic has been much more clear to our audience who thinks that it is our Yukti or personal. It is something which is personal. So now we will move to second year topics. So Vindhya will ask the next question.
Yeah. We'll discuss about the significance of Dravya Gun. Ma'am, my first question is, what is the relevance of learning botanical names, family, morphology, and active principles of plants in Dravya Gun?
Actually, that is a very relevant question because I am sure most of the students will be wondering why and how all these things are learned. I would like to add a point to Yukti also. Just now I got a point. That is nothing but always this for this Yukti, in the label of Yukti, many different things are in terms of Dravya Guna. I mean, many different opinions are collected in the label of Yukti. So in Dravya Guna, there can be very good rational standards for Yukti, which is mentioned in Charaka Sutrasthana, that 7 parameters which I have published. Before that, evidence-tried approach of SBEBA is perfect illustration of Yukti Jnana for all doctors, all students of Ayurveda, BMS. Now, they don't need to think so much how to understand the Nidana Panchaga, how to understand Samprapti, Pancha Sampraptis in the patient, how to explore a patient step by step. All these are made very simplified and very precisely in our methodology of evidence-tried approach in 3 different levels. As you know, silver evidence, golden evidence, and diamond evidence, which rule of Sampraptis in diamond evidence. So any student or BMS practitioner who is learning systematically this methodology, evidence-tried approach methodology of SBEBA, will be able to acquire Yukti Jnana and practice it. And I'm sure Sangeeta is having that basic knowledge, being an SBEBA learner. And another thing is that in Dravya Guna, there are certain standards like what is Dravya Prabhavat, Guna Prabhavat, Dravya Guna Prabhavat cha tasmin kale tat adhikaranam asadhya tam yuktimartham cha tam abhipretya yat kurvanti sakarmam. So all these different parameters can be applied to understand the Yukti Jnana or to get the Yukti Jnana. Yat kurvanti sakarmam, yena kurvanti sa viryam, yatra kurvanti sa adhikaranam. Karma is the interaction between virya and adhikarana. Yada kurvanti sa kala, in what state and stage you are applying. Yadha kurvanti sa upaya. If you know the treatment also, how you are going to implement it. Whether you want to do Deepana, whether you are doing by Snehana Deepana or Dukshana Deepana, or whether you are doing Pajana and causing Agni-dipti, or whether you are doing Anulomana or Langhana, everything. That is what is very precise. That is what is called Ubaya. And yet Sabala. So this much pharmacodynamics and kinetic principles are explained, and morphology and you have asked about morphology, right? Morphology and active principle. Yeah. So this, according to me, what I feel, being an expert in Dravya Guna Vijnana, I feel that it is morphological knowledge should be there, very little basic things. Like you should be able to understand the main plants which are currently used in medicines. Basic knowledge, like you should be able to identify. When you see Vasha, you should understand that this is Vasha and this is something else, like Ashoka, this is Ashoka. How you can understand Ashoka? It doesn't require this much learning of botanical aspects, histological aspects, and all the other details. You must be knowing the Sanskrit name. I agree, it is very important. You must be knowing the synonyms. You must be knowing the botanical name and family. And there are specific experts of pharmacognosy to help us to confirm the botanical identity of the plant which we want to confirm, and they are giving us very precise knowledge. Look for these standards. I mean, modern pharmacognosy is there, and Ayurvedic texts also explain certain morphological features in detail, how to understand the plant. So with these details, we don't need to explore so much of details like how the roots are, how the stem is. Right now what is happening, so much detailed morphology is being taught for plant after plant. That much is not needed. That is waste of time, because Ayurveda student is not intended to become a botany expert. He or she is intended to become a doctor, a quality doctor. And Charaka told, na namatnyana matrena rupa matrena vapuna aushadam ki anavijnadam nama rupa gunisribi vijnadam chavi duryuktam tikshnam sambadhyade visham. So as far as an Ayurveda student is concerned, Dravya Guna Vijnana should be teaching Yukti Jnana of administration of Dravyas. So that part is to be highlighted. So morphology should be very much concised, and botanical identity should be established for main drugs which we are using commonly in medicines. Those plants are to be able to be identified. And rest of all, what is to be detailed, what is to be taught in detail is Gunakarma Vijnana and Prayoga Vijnana. These two are most crucial aspects. Prayoga Vijnana, right now it is perverted. I'm not going into the details for this point, but this is what I need to say about morphology and botanical, I mean, active principles. Active principle is stupid in Ayurveda, because in Ayurveda, Dravya is not performing its karma by active principle. Did our science ever describe that you have to look for the ingredients inside the Dravya? Acharyas have very specifically emphasized about Rasa Panchaga Siddhanta. Rasa Panchaga Siddhanta, Kinjit Rasena Kurude Karmam Pakena Chaparam Gunandrena Viryena Prabhavena Iva Kinjit. So, when a science, a deterministic science, is providing accurate knowledge regarding how a Dravya is performing its karma, how a Dravya is performing its karma, this much pharmacodynamics and kinetics is given. What is happening when you take a Dravya? When you take a Bheshaja, what is happening? First of all, Virya is working, and this Virya is getting activated. It is targeted to Adhikarana. It is getting interacted with Adhikarana, and Bheshaja Karma is initiated. All these things are then why to look for active principles. It is absolute waste to study active principle. For general knowledge, it is okay to study some active principles if you really want to know. It is okay, but it has got zero application in Ayurveda, Ayurvedic science and medical science. So I don't think this is, but as far as identity and other things are concerned, minimal morphological features, just to understand that this is that plant and which is the useful part.
Would like to
That is my
substantiate what Dr. Ramya said.
Sir, yes, sir.
It's mentioned as Dravya is to be identified by Nama Rupa Gunehi. What she has been quoting that point. So you need to identify Nama, you need to identify by Rupa, and you need to identify by Gunas, which are mentioned in Ayurvedic science, not by alkaloids or active principles. Right? And most important point is Tishtat Yugari Yuktijno, Dravya Jnanavadam Sada. Dravya Jnanavadam Yuktijnaha tishtati. Means yukti means those who know to apply is more important than knowing the dravya by nama rupa guna. So if you know by nama rupa guna also, if you don't know to apply, application, the skill which or yukti, the skills which you need to develop is roga pariksha, rogi pariksha, dosha pariksha, peshaja pariksha, whether that is applicable, you have to determine its dose, its mode of application, its form of application, so many things. So if you don't know its application, then learning morphological features or active principles is of no use. It's utter waste of time. So instead of focusing on these things, if we are focusing on Nama Rupa Guna and more for application or yukti, then the students will be perfect professional Ayurvedic physicians. Otherwise, they will be more for pharmacognosy, just like Padartha Vijnana, they will be attracted to philosophy, they will be attracted to pharmacognosy. I am able to identify these many plants. So he will not become a physician. He is one among Nama Rupa Guna. And everything we are applying with Guna. Guna Siddhanta or one of the Padarthas is Guna, which is dependent on Dravya in a Samavaya Sambandha. You cannot take active principle out. It is in Samavaya Sambandha. So it's utter waste to learn active principles so much regarding modern things, regarding a plant and other things. We need to focus in Ayurvedic perspective.
Thank you so much, ma'am and sir. Actually, with reason you explained this question, which will be very helpful to our audience. My next question is, what is the relevance of learning theory of Rasa Panchaka Siddhanta in theory without any clinical applications taught in patients?
Absolutely correct. Because Rasapanchaka Siddhanta is the crucial pharmacodynamic substratum of Dravya Guna and Ayurveda. I will say pharmacological substratum of Ayurveda. Ayurveda cannot explain mode of action of any Dravya and mode of effect of administration of any treatment without knowing Rasapanchaka Siddhanta and its application. So Rasapanchaka Siddha, Rasa Guna Virya Vipaka Prabhava, it is explained with all the aspects in a complete entirety in the science of Ayurveda. As you know, how to all the basic, every science is emerged by two kinds of research: basic research and applied research. In Ayurveda, as it is an applied science, there has acharyas have conducted both basic and applied research. Once they have emerged certain logics, they have that time itself they have experimented it. Parikshaver bahuvidam parikshya hedubir sadhayitva stapyate nirnayah. So they have experimented it in multiple ways, multiple scientists in multiple centuries, and they have substantiated with biological plausibility. What is biological plausibility means? Cause-effect relationship. For this cause, this mechanism, and this effect. So based on conducting basic research, they have emerged rasas, as you have learned in Ashtanga Sangraha or Hridaya, Shadrasas, and their different aspects. Atma Rupas are there, Guna Karmas are there. You cannot imagine such a vast and deep science. Madhura Rasa, what all karmas Madhura Rasa is doing, Amla Rasa, what all karmas. So that much Madhura, what all multiple karmas in multiple levels, it is being explained for Shadrasas in Ayurvedic science. So the thing is that even the same rasa can cause adiyoga vikaras are also explained if you use excess janedi shidilatvam sevida sodhi dehe. If you consume excess amla rasa, what happens? Janedi shidilatvam sevida sodhi dehe kabha vilena kandu pandu dadrak vighatan Chada Vihada Visarpam Rekta Piktam Pibasa, bleeding disorders, dehydration, everything can happen by excess Amla Rasa. So this much, there is such a lot to apply these Rasa Vijnana in research, applied research. We have to understand where Amla Rasa Adiyoga Vikara comes, what you have to do. Amla opposite is Pitta Rasa. So it has to be demonstrated in a practical aspect. You cannot teach it in classroom and leave the students to their own will. You cannot do like that. If you are a responsible faculty, definitely, if I am treating Rasapanjaga, I must ensure that my student has learned its application properly, judiciously. For that, I need an OPD. Definitely, teaching OPD is required in Dravya Guna. Then only we can teach like how Shadrasa Siddhanta can be shown. It can be demonstrated in patients. Even gunas, not only rasa, all these things. Virya, how virya gets activated. Nowadays, people think that Ayurveda is slow. But Acharya told very correctly, Dravya Prabhavat, Guna Prabhavat, Dravya Guna Prabhavat, Tasmin Kale. If you are applying in right state and stage of the disease and the patient. Tat adhikaranam asadhya. Don't think that Ayurveda medicines are like throwing stone to mangoes. Yeah? It is like very specific. Every virya of medicine is specifically targeted to its own adhikarana. If you want to do Deepana, you have to choose Deepana virya and not Pachana virya. That's why Acharya told very specifically, if you want to do Anulomana, you have to do correct Upaya virya. How you are planning to do Anulomana. By Pachana you are doing, or Snehana you are doing, how you are, or Deepana you are doing. If you want to do Deepana Anulomana, Dravya is different. Pajana Anulomana, it is different. Haritaki is Pajana Anulomana. And any other, even yogas also same. So these things, Bheshaja karmas are entirely dependent on these Virya and Adhikarana interaction. So tat Adhikaranam Asadhya tam yuktim artham cha. Jagatyevam anaushadam. Every teacher will teach in Dravya Guna class. Jagatyevam anaushadam. All dravyas are medicines. You can use anything. It is not like that. Jagatyevam anaushadam na kinjit vidyade vidyat vasha nanartha yogayoho. Artha and yoga are important. So it is not like Jagatyevam anaushadam kinjit. It is based on its artha and yoga. If you are using a dravya, it becomes medicine. It's not like every dravya can be converted to a medicine. But it doesn't mean that every dravya is existing as medicine for all diseases. So you have to consider two aspects, yukti and artha. Yukti, again, we have discussed just now what is yukti. So yukti jnana, choosing the right virya, right karma, right adhikarana, right upaya, and all these things are what is called yukti jnana. So when you are applying yukti jnana, artha means prayojana, utility of dravya. You want to do anulomana, you are choosing aragoda. It is not correct. Aragoda is not anulomana. Aragoda is vamsana. So everything has trivrit. You want to do anulomana with trivrit. It is not possible. Trivrit is virechana. So everything, specifically definitions are given. Pittam va, kabha pittam va, pittashe gadam hare. That is called samsana. Whereas virejana is different. Vibhakkom yadabhakkom va, maladi dravadam naye, drejetevi tatnyayam rejanam trivrdayata. And even for virejana, mrudu virejana, sugha virejana, tikshna virejana, all these different things are mentioned. So when we are choosing all this, when you are learning theory only, then how will you understand the application of these things? Crucial parameters. Artha means utility of dravya. Every dravya is studied based on Bheshaja karma, Doshagna karma and Rogagna karma. Three aspects are there for all dravyas. If you are studying dravya or yoga, whatever it is, Bheshaja yoga or dravya, three things are there to be studied specifically. One is Bheshaja karma. Deepana, Pajana, Anulomana, Samsana, Bhedana, all these are there. Vishashamana, Pramadhi, Vyavai, Vikashi, all these are Bheshaja karmas. And Doshagna karma, whether the dravya is Vadagna or Pittagna or Tridoshagna, that is to be known. And third is Rogagna karma, in which Roga, the dravya is mentioned. So these three aspects we are supposed to learn in detail in single dravyas, when you are learning single dravyas. And when you are analyzing, how you can analyze the effects. Bheshaja karma, how will you analyze? For same dravya, there can be multiple karmas. Pitta, Murda, Tradoshagni, Grahi, Ushna, Rasayani. Grahi is one karma, Rasayana is one karma. So, Tikta, Murda, Tradoshagni, Grahi, Ushna, Rasayani. Deepani, Jwara, Trit, Daha, Kamala, Vadaraktan. So Doshagna karmas are mentioned, Yogagna karmas are mentioned, and Bheshaja karma, Rasayana, Agrahi, Deepana are mentioned. All these three. You take any example. Vashago, Vadagrit Swarya, Kabha Pitta Asra Nashana, Tikta Stuvarago, Hridya, Lagu Shida Tridarti Hrid, Swasakasa Jara Chardi, Meha Kushta Chayavaha. So whichever dravya you choose, you will understand that all these three karmas are mentioned. So how can you attain dravya jnana? Dravya jnana and guna karma jnana can be attained only by its accurate prayoga, which has to be learned in clinic. A patient is coming, you must be learning simultaneously. Roga Nidana is there. So you will be able to understand all these aspects coming to evidence triad approach. Agandu dosha is there. Then in that patient, both silver evidence is there, golden evidence and diamond panja samprapti is there. So everything you are understanding in Roga Nidana. You are supposed to learn in Roga Nidana in clinical application. Then you are coming to Bheshaja Jnana. How you are choosing Bheshaja. Rogamado Pariksheda Tado Anandaram Bheshajam. Tada Karma Bhishak Paschat Jnana Purvam Samadhi. First you have to attain the Roga Jnana, then you have to attain the Bheshaja Jnana. Bheshaja Jnana means what? Idam evam prakriti, evam gunam, evam prabhavam, asmin deshe jadam, asmin vrito, evam grihidam, evam nihidam, evam upaskridam, aneyacha matraya yuktam, in which dose? Sir told just now, evam vidasya doshasya edavandam dosham abhagarshati ubashamedi, whether it is performing shodhana or shamana. If it is shamana, which shamana specifically? Because saptavida shamana is there. Shodhana in how much, what patient you are doing, whether Shodhana is required, whether the patient status is fit for Shodhana, which dravya you are choosing. How you can choose dravya? Bheshaja karma, Doshagna karma, Rogatna karma. Has to be analyzed to choose dravya. And you have to apply the single dravya. It's not like 5 kashayas, 3 arishtas, and 4 lehyas and 2 churnas prescribing with panchakarma. It is not rational treatment. You must be knowing what treatment principle, which Bheshaja karma. The students must be taught to write karma, virya, adhikarana, all these in the patient. That should be the practical record of Dravya Guna. Every clinical case, karma, intended Bheshaja karma, virya, adhikarana, and tasme kala, tasmin kale, tat adhikarana asadhya, yukti, artha, upaya, and finally, what is accomplished, bhala, what you have observed. This should be Dravya Guna practical. Then only it should be completely clinical practical. It is ultimately stupid to waste of time, waste of money, and it is denying your fundamental right to study the science of Dravya Guna. The students deserve the right to study quality. Quality education is a fundamental right that is denied by asking you to cut medicinal plants and observe in microscope and study the histology and draw a neat diagram and explain what you are going to achieve. At the same time, what is needed is denied. So this is a main problem today. Rasa Panchaga Siddhanta is to be. Virya is very important aspect. Karma, Prabhava is extremely important. Students do not know what is Prabhava. What is the difference between Prabhava and Vichitra Pratyarabdha? Everything has to be taught clinically. Then only it gets very effective and it will meet the objective. What is the object? 2 things are there for a science. Clarity should be there, objectivity should be there. Clarity and objectivity are lacking today in Dravya Guna education. That's what I want to conclude.
Like to add?
Yes, sir.
So, why Ayurveda doctors are asked to take classes for Dravya Guna? So it is not pharmacognosy teaching, or it is not pharmacokinetics, everything separately. So it is not like that. Because Ayurveda doctors are teaching to teach them how to be in profession. That's why Ayurveda doctors are made to teach them pharmacognosy or whatever it is in the syllabus. But in the syllabus, more importance is given to pharmacognosy and other things, and least importance is given to its application. So, in case of gunas, the question was about gunas. Gunas are functional entities. Functional entities, it's unlike Western science. Western science, everything is unknown drug. But ours is functional entities, means they have discovered everything in patient. What rasa is going to do, what vipaka is going to do, prabhava, virya, everything, gunas, how it's going to act before digestion, after digestion, or on which all systems, in which all manner, and in disease status, how it will be acting, and all these things are mentioned. But gunas will not act without karma. So the karma is only application. Karma starts its effect. Kinjit rasena gurute karma pakena chaparam. Sometimes rasa will be predominant in that dravya. Sometimes vipaka will be active in that dravya. So which is mentioned in that science, that we have to incorporate by analyzing the patient, and by applying our yukti, we have to check in the patient itself. Both rasa pradhanam ahara, virya pradhanam aushadam. So in disease status, we have to assess the virya of the roga, and exactly hostile virya is to be selected, and we have to incorporate, we have to administer in the patient and check. If it is ahara, if it is a healthy patient, we have to check with rasa, how rasa is acting, how vipaka rasa is acting. All dravyas having mathur rasa will not be acting in the same way. So karma is different. So all individuals having vata prakriti or kapha prakriti will not be behaving in the same way, or will not be responding to same cause in the same way. They will be responding in different ways because their karma are different. So we need to learn everything. Science, Shastra and Shastrartha are equally important. Shastrartha, when you are learning practicals with pharmacognosy and other things, you are totally diverted. You don't know the application. So the most important thing or crucial thing is Shastra and Shastrartha should be the theory and practical. Right.
Thank you, ma'am and sir. Yeah, next question,
Yeah.
Vindhya.
Ma'am, why do we have the division of detailed and non-detailed drugs in our syllabus?
Actually, detailed drugs, most of the drugs we are regularly using in all the formulations. So when you're studying detailed drugs, there is nothing wrong in studying detailed drugs and non-detailed. I don't think there is a demarcation necessary between detailed drugs and non-detailed. Both can be clubbed very important dravyas which are incorporated in commonest bhajajas which we are using. The problem is that there are so many medications in Ayurveda, so there are endless application through in prescription. Doctors are prescribing multiple medications and multiple karmas. That is why all these dravyas are required to be taught. It's not like that. We can go for ganas, bheshaja yogas, or deshemanis, based on which we can choose and important yogas in action today. What all main yogas we are choosing for different purpose, like for pajana, which all yogas we are choosing, deepana. So based on that, which all dravyas are mentioned, those dravyas can be given importance, and we can compile it to maybe if it is 100 also. Okay, that is fine. But again, a list of non-detailed drugs, so many dravyas are mentioned. I don't think anybody is teaching it so seriously. Also, all are giving just notes. What is happening in your colleges, I don't know. But generally, non-detailed drugs, nobody is emphasizing. Even wrong things like morphology and all, one class full morphology will be taken, and guna, karma, prayoga, yukti, everything will be covered in 10 minutes. 1 hour will be spent for morphology with all pictures, root, stem, leaf. What is the need of doing that? Actually, the number of dravyas should be minimized. Most important relevant dravyas based on, I will say that based on karma classification. They can be classified under different karmas and they can be taught so that it becomes interesting. Students will understand that these dravyas are commonly used for medications and even for single dravyas also in certain cases. So they will develop interest once all these karmas under karma classification, these dravyas are explained. And this many dravyas definitely not required to learn this many detailed and non-detailed dravyas. And pattern of each dravya, it should be minimized. It's not like guna karma vijnana, prayoga vijnana, and yoga vijnana. Of course, you should be knowing important yogas of that. That's all. That is required.
I would like to add,
Yes, sir.
just like Vakpada, Acharya Vakpada told, Yugana Rupa Sandarpena. So he has updated what all are most important in that period. And like that, we can also, like the rampant diseases, we have to make a analysis, and those dravyas which are to be used in such conditions are to be given importance. And some other drugs are also, means herbs are also could be learned with guna karmas. It's not like we have to learn all the dravyas to get pass marks in dravya guna, and then only we can be called as an Ayurvedic physician. That's wrong. That's 100% wrong. So it has to be updated. Yugani Rupa Sandarpena, you have to again update it and systematically that modulate the syllabus.
I think this is now we are applying, we are using a primitive syllabus, I will say. No much changes have happened in with regard to Dravya Guna. It's like what all Dravyas I have learned in detail and non-detail, you people are also learning. So no much changes are happening. That is the saddest part of our curriculum. That should change, updation should happen, scientific updation should happen according to the timely requirements.
So true, ma'am. And also, whatever thing you have mentioned, it is like we are not studying like that. Our syllabus is not like that. We are like just lacking. There's a huge loophole, I will say. As you told in that Ayurvedic pharmacology we should learn. So we are not learning regarding Ayurvedic pharmacology and treatment of diseases of different shotas and all that. We are not learning. So like how we can like learn that or approach to that?
It's a very important aspect because you are learning everything in modern pharmacology, anti-inflammatory drugs,
Right.
anti-pyretic drugs, anti-hypertension, anti-diarrheal, every anti-drug you are studying. But at the same time, when a patient comes with diarrhea, which Bheshja karma you are
Right.
supposed to use? How you will because you are learning Nidana, Samadhisara, Pakwadhisara, etc. You are learning Jwara. You are learning Jwara and Nidana, Roga Nidana. But at the same time, when a Jwara patient comes, how to choose Bheshja karma, how to choose Bheshja, all these are supposed to be learned in Dravya Guna. But you are not able to understand what is the cause of Jwara in this patient, what principle, which karma, what yukti, which upaya, how to apply, what dose is to be given, and finally, what artha medicine, Bheshja karma, doshakna karma, rogakna karma, evaluation. This is not done. So, simultaneously, nowadays, anti-inflammatory drugs, in inflammation, how to understand in Ayurvedic perspective, that is to be taught in Roganidana. Good faculty of Roganidana will teach what is inflammation in Ayurveda, what are the different kinds of inflammation. Simultaneously in Dravya Guna, what is the pharmacological application of Bheshja in inflammation is to be taught. Then only we feel that we are learning a medical science. We are learning so many Rasapanchaga Siddhanta, so many Dravyas, then cutting plants and observing under microscope, drawing diagram, sticking it on herbarium sheet, and finally Dravya Guna done. But at the same time, you are learning anti all these drugs. Why don't you ask question to your faculties? We are learning inflammation, anti-inflammatory, anti-pyretic, anti-allergic, so many antis are there in modern pharmacology. Sir or ma'am, what to do in inflammation in Ayurveda? Can you please give us? Can you please enlighten us how to treat a patient with autoimmune inflammation or an infective inflammation, bronchitis, for example? How to treat a patient? How we can choose the Bheshja karma? How to choose the Ubaya? How to choose the Virya? All this you should be asking. No, if teachers are not telling you, it is your responsibility to
Also,
ignite us.
also, ma'am, that teachers are telling that suppose for example that neem is anti-inflammatory, tulsi is anti-inflammatory. So like that they are teaching. So people used to believe that okay, from active compound we have to एक active compound निकालना है and we have to like this active compound is doing this anti-inflammatory things or this is antipyretics. So likewise the teacher feels this is the upgradation, this is the real upgradation, and students are also feeling this is the real upgradation. And patent drugs are forming in this way only. New patent drugs are forming on active principles or by combining the single drugs who is having the same karmas, which is available widely available on our pharmacy. Shastra drugs, classic drugs are not there in any pharmacy. It is very like you will struggle to find that classic drugs in Ayurvedic stores. So like, what is your point on this? Like, neem is anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, it's anti-inflammatory. Okay, ma'am, can you please? So OPD is required. Faculty has to administer neem in a patient with bronchitis or whatever inflammation she is intending to give. That is called yukti and artha. Yukti means yukti midi upayam, artha midi prayojanam. Two things are determining the dravya. Yukti means upaya, the treatment principle, what you are applying there, why and how. You cannot tell that because of this active principle, this drug is anti-inflammatory. It is like then the entire Rasapanchaga is to be removed from the syllabus. There should not be any Rasapanchaga. There should be only active principle theory. Then it becomes modern pharmacology. There is no Dravya,
Right.
there is no Ayurveda then. Because Ayurveda is Shastra Artha Karmanushīlanena Samskurveda Pratyam. That is the motto of, basic motto of Ayurveda. As it is science-based medicine, not medicine-based science. So when a faculty is telling these drugs are anti-inflammatory, anti-malarial, etc., you should be asking two questions: how and why. And being a student, it is your right to see that application. If she says it is anti-inflammatory, how it is working as anti-inflammatory based on
Actually,
Ayurvedic principles.
the problem
Because Rasapanda is
actually the problem today is we are trying to identify the nature of dravya with modern research methodology. So, like unknown drug is given to unknown patient, unknown disease status, and trying whether this is having benefits or risks. Like that, Ayurvedic dravyas are applied. And just now I told that all these are functional entities which are already explored by the acharyas. And it's clearly written that what will be its karma also. So when you are trying to find out something without scientific basis, so something else will be anti-inflammatory, something else will be anti-helminthic, and along with benefits and risks, which is not at all permitted in Ayurvedic science. So based on such studies, it is considered as anti-inflammatory. This is considered as, it is not based on Ayurvedic diagnosis of patient, Ayurvedic decision-making standards. This neem is given to helminths or tulsi is given to bronchitis patients. So it is utter stupidity that we are following modern research methodology where we are having all the information available. Like functional entities are told, executional entities are told. If you take functional entities out, then it is not a dravya. Guna karma in samavaya sambandha is dravya. You cannot take that active principle out and make another karma. It is not possible because it is the padartha that is mentioning is samavaya. It is in inseparable relation. You cannot take it out. So such studies are stupidity, and it will be ruining the Ayurvedic science itself. We will not be nowhere.
yeah,
We will not.
and based on this, there will be classification also. Pranavaha Srotas. What all Bheshaja karmas are coming under Pranavaha Srotas? Resavaha Srotas. All these Riktavaha Srotas, which all Bheshaja karmas are coming under this. So Srotas wise class, they are teaching you anti-malarial, all these drugs means equal or more responsibility is there to teach Srotas wise Bheshaja karma. Srotas wise application, sensible application of Bheshya karma, yukti, artha, upaya, virya, everything, no. So that should be, syllabus should be modified according to Srotas, different Srotas. Karma classification based on different Srotas. That is very good suggestion. That is required. Otherwise, Active principle, as sir told, when it is taken out, it becomes another drug. So it is not mentioned in our science also. So that cannot be a logical reasoning point from the side of faculties. You can counter it with any of the faculties, including me. If I am telling something, if you feel it insensible, it is your right, absolute right. It is not lack of humbleness or anything. A humble faculty will admit all the questions. He will not say, don't question me. That you should be knowing it. You should be asking questions and making yourself clarify.
Thank you so much, ma'am and sir. So, Vidya, next question, please.
Yes, the next question, ma'am. What is the use of learning Dravya Sangrah Vidhi in BMS curriculum?
That's what I am also thinking about this. Dravya Sangrahana Vidhi. Kandam Himartau, Shishire Moolam, Varsham Vasandam, Baladam Vadandi, Pravala Patrani, Nidagha Kale, Siv Panchajanadi Sharat Prayoge, in which all seasons Dravyas. For general knowledge, this is all good. No problem. General knowledge wise, it should not be considered as a mandatory part of syllabus. Dravya means everything regarding Dravya. Then why not application is not taught? No. The pharmacological, pharmacodynamics and kinetics are not taught. Instead of that, Dravya Sangrana, you people are going to become Dravya collectors in future or bishops. You have joined BAMS not to collect Dravyas. You have joined BAMS to become quality practitioners. So instead of teaching that Dravya Sangrahana Vidhi, for general knowledge, it can be included as a not mandatory topic. Those who are having interest to know, they can, like Idihasa of Ayurveda. Those who are, every student who is interested to know the history of Ayurveda, they can read it for general knowledge. It should be kept as such a topic only, is my opinion. Otherwise, Dravya Sangrahana Vidhi and Bheshaja Agara. Bheshaja Agara is included in that. That is also for general knowledge purpose. In olden times, Plodam, Ridbhanda, Shangu Vinyasta Bheshajam, right? In Susruta, it is mentioned how medicines were stored. Nowadays, we are having very good storage options are there in every pharmacy. If you are interested to know, you can go there and see what are the modern techniques. If you visit good pharmacies, you will understand how medicines are stored. For general knowledge, these are all good. But learning the details of all this is waste of time. Why? Because the crucial things are not taught. If the crucial things are taught, it is there explained and exemplified and demonstrated, it is fine. This can be added as a not so compulsory topic. But that is not taught. Dravya Sangrahana is taught means it is just perverting that original. That's what I told. Objectivity matters. Why you are learning this discipline of Dravya Guna? It is for learning the sensible application of medicine, sensible choice of medicine, and not to learn collection of medicine, storage of medicine, and modern pharmacology alone. That is my point.
The problem is syllabus is made by Dravya Guna teachers. So they will be thinking from perspective of Dravya Guna what all things are to be added to that, not from a clinical point of view. So if they are clinicians, if they are practitioners, they will be thinking from the perspective of clinical approach, how Dravya is to be incorporated in clinics. So when they are not having that vision, syllabus will be so vast and it will not be creating professionals. It will be creating pharmacognosy experts or something else, not physicians. So, and also students will get diverted. You have so much to learn. Along with that, when you are learning so much unnecessary things, your brain capacity will be lost for that. You have to delete so many things.
Right. And it is very hard to delete.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Once you complete PAMS, then it's very difficult to delete all these things.
Sir, should we proceed as 1 hour is already there?
Next. I think we go to next.
Sir, should we
We can
proceed?
continue in the next session or one more question not related to Dravya Guna, if you are starting something, you can ask Dr. Redmya regarding something else.
Yeah.
Like this is related with Ras Shastra also, right? This Dravya Guna, the same problem is related with Ras Shastra also. If such questions are there, you can ask.
So, सर रस शास्त्र का जो एक सेम क्वेश्चन यही था कि मतलब रस शास्त्र मेंशन तो नहीं है कहीं पे बिब्लियती टेक्स्ट में, तो what is the significance of learning Rasha Shastra in our BMS curriculum, and like how we can understand it is like very in a practical manner. It is very hard to understand.
Who is to explain? Rasa Shastra actually, what it is a very important discipline. I will not say that Rasa Shastra is unimportant. It is a very important discipline. It is a very different discipline, but coming under Ayurveda itself, no doubt in that. But the problem is that what you are learning in Rasa Shastra is Shodhana and Marana. I used to wonder, during my studenthood, I used to think Rasa Shastra is easy subject because when you write Shodhana and Marana correctly, you will get full marks. No, nothing to think, nothing to learn shlokas, not very long shlokas, nothing is there. But my question is, why to teach only this Shodhana and Marana only? And the properties of each Ubarasa and all this Maharasa, Ubarasa, everything. So it is not the objective. No, we should be like every dravya. Rasas are also dravyas. So Bheshaja karma, Doshatna karma and Rogatna karma. That part of Rasa Shastra is not explored. And that is not clinically applied also. Same applies to Bheshaja Kalpana also. Bheshaja Kalpana, so many different things are there. Prashasta Bheshaja, you are learning in Dravya Guna. It should be taught in Bheshaja Kalpana, Prashasta Bheshaja. How you have studied that reference, no? Prashasta Deshe Sambodham, Prashasta Nichodradam, Yukti Matram, Manaskandam, Gandhavarna Rasanvidam, Doshagnam, Aglanigaram, Abhikari Vipadidam, Samiksha Dattam Kalecha, Prashastam Bheshajam. So every aspect of this, like instead of making medicines, what is the need of making medicine? And that should not be the practical. See, if you learn to make some lehya or some kashaya or some taila, how is it going to benefit in your clinical practice? You became an expert in making pinda daila. You will be administering, making pinda daila and administering.
So ma'am, people say that कि अगर हम अपने से औषधि बनाते हैं तो अपना जो है कि वो भाव डालते हैं उसमें, that quality, purity and all जो patient को required होता है. हाँ.
खुद का क्लिनिक भी चला सकते.
Oh, you.
हाँ.
If your idea is to open a pharmacy, then these things are good. If your idea, then also there is an option for going for Ayurveda pharmacy course. Leave the BAMS and go for Ayurveda pharmacy so that you can make a better idea about all these aspects. In BAMS, the first and primary objective is to become Bhishak only. So application of these kalpanas, sensible application of Kashaya kalpanas, Churna kalpanas, in which all conditions, which all diseases, which all kind of patients, these kalpanas are to be applied. And each kalpana, ganas and Bheshaja yogas are to be discussed in detail. What is the objectivity, artha and yukti of each kalpanas? Every different kashaya, ghrida, arishta, what is the difference between murchida taila and ordinary taila? All these clinical difference I am asking, not the manufacturing difference alone. How it is going to clinically impact, what kind of difference you can expect, what kind of yukti is to be applied in choosing such kalpanas. So choice and application of kalpanas are to be taught in Bhaishya Kalpana. It is not like making some different medicines, acquiring jnana for that, because you are not going to become an expert in making manufacturer award, no use. You are to become a physician, quality physician. So sensible application is to be taught. And Rasa Shastra also, each and every rasa, all these Bheshaja karma, Doshatna karma and Rogatna karma is to be analyzed and taught. And it is to be demonstrated in clinical OPDs. Rasa Shastra and Vaishya Kalpana, OPDs should be there separately. And Rasa preparations also, Doshatna karma is mentioned. Why Acharya has mentioned Doshatna karmas for rasa preparation? It is because they are also working based on Doshitna action. So it is very clear. So that is to be taught with utmost importance. Now, what is considered is that Vyadhi Viparita is this what you call Rasa Aushadhis are Vyadhi Viparita. I think Rajkumar sir will talk more about that. What is Vyadhi Viparita and how Rasa Shastra is Vyadhi Viparita. Every medicine, if they are mentioning Doshatna Karma, then it is not only Vyadhi Viparita or nobody can interpret like that. There is a very, and second is Ashukari effect is there for Rasa Shastra. Even non-Rasa Shastra herbal medicines are also having Ashukari effect. But nobody is studying the logical application. So it is getting delayed. As in SBEBA, you must be knowing. We are not using Rasa preparations, we are knowing it, how Ashukari it is, how in acute conditions and emergencies, right? So it is not like Rasa Aushadhis are only Ashukari. It is because of that shows defective education of all of this.
No subject in Ayurveda is non-clinical, right? Rasashastra is non-clinical, Bhaishajya Kalpana is non-clinical. It's not like that. All subjects are clinical only because they are teaching you to become doctors, not to become pharmacy experts or something else. So what we are learning in Rasashastra and Bhaishajya Kalpana, we should be able to apply in the patients. So they should also be able to assess the patient in the exact way what Roga Nidana teaches. So they should be able to assess the Roga status, Rogi status, Dosha status. Then the mode of application, in which stage Kashaya is to be applied, in which stage Churna can be applied, in which stage Snehapana can be done. So such sort of which form it can be applied, that can be taught in Bhaishajya Kalpana. And in Rasashastra also, they have to assess the Rogi status and then how to apply Rasashastra medicines. Specifically, it is not 2-3 medicines mixed together or this Kashaya and this Arishna mixed together. Na Kriya Sangaro Hiddaha. You should not apply 2-3 Kriyas together. That is wrong. That is wrong. So, why in all OPDs there are mixing of Kashayas, which you can see. So, they want to dispense all the Kashayas. So, 2 Kashayas have to be mixed. Upanarnavadi Kashaya and Rasnerandadi Kashaya will be mixed. So, there is no logic in that. There is no logic, and it has become another Dravya, which its Guna Karmas are not studied. Or Dosha Karma, Bheshja Karma, and Rogakina Karmas are not studied. So, such Dravyas we are giving. So, that Bhaishajya Kalpana as well as Rasashastra should be taught in the same way in patients itself by its application. The same thing, what I told before, Shastra and Shastra Artha should be theory and practical respectively.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And if there will be more any questions related to Rasha Shastra or Dravya we will continue that questions in next episodes. Also, we will clear more about Roga Nidana and everything. So don't worry that if this episode is over, that second year topic is over. No, it is not, because they both are very much experts in Dravya Guna and Roga Nidana. So obviously this is going to be a long episodes wise, more episodes wise series. So we will, right now we all are signing off, but yeah, we will continue in the next episodes. Thank you so much, Saran ma'am, for your valuable information. We really feel enlightenment after this session.
It was a very nice experience. We enjoyed. Thank you.
Congrats to you for asking questions.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am.